What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Leo's Nerd Talk, and today we're going to be talking about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So let's get into that. Hi, my name is Leo, and if you guys like talking about movies, TV shows, or video game related, or just anything nerdy, you have come to the right place. And like I said, today we're talking about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So without further ado, let's get into the review. And before I get into the full review, let's go ahead and go to our favorite segment, at least my favorite segment, and that is Popcorn Review. Alrighty, so with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, we got another metal popcorn bucket. I like these. I think these are cool because you get the design of it. This is definitely better than the Fall Guys popcorn bucket that we got in the previous review that you guys saw from me, just because it is the tin candy metal. I prefer the metal over the plastic. And this one does a little bit better job because on top of the actual popcorn bucket, they have this cover, and you can see Noah, which is our main character in this movie, as well as kind of the symbol of Caesar, which represents the window he had from Rise of the Planet of the Apes when he was still living with James Franco's character. So, and this also did have a secret compartment inside that held a secret keychain, which was the, again, symbol of Caesar. So I do think they did a good job, more so with the design on top of the popcorn bucket, as well as giving you a free little goodie on the side with it. And I do like the logo of the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie. So I do think this is still a fun popcorn bucket to add to my collection, especially that it has a cool, unique design and another keychain that comes with it. But that ends my popcorn bucket review. Let's get on to the rest of the video. So Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes follows Noah and his journey on trying to find the people that are responsible for destroying his home. Now, without taking any more of your time, let's go ahead and get just directly into the pros. And the pros for me, like I mentioned, I do like the story of this movie. This takes place about 300 years later after War of the Planet of the Apes, following Noah, which I believe is played by the same person that plays Caesar in the previous trilogy. So I do think that's pretty awesome. He does have a lot of resemblance to Caesar in the way he actually looks himself. And I do like this little village or this clan that they're in, where they're a little bit different than Proximus Caesar's clan, where they're kind of more people that tame hawks, and they're a little bit more in the wilderness. They don't really have like weapons or anything like that. They're a lot more of a village where their main thing is just getting resources, being family oriented, trying to live on with more generations, you know, breeding these hawks. You know, Noah, our main character here, his father is the kind of leader of this clan here, and he's kind of the like hawk speaker, you know, but due to some tragic events because of Proximus Caesar's clan, they come in, destroy this home, and unfortunately his father does pass away. He is killed, and it leaves Noah on a journey to try to find Proximus Caesar's clan and bring justice for his father. And I also really like Noah, you know. Like I said, I think it is played by the same person that plays Caesar, and you can definitely see a lot of the demeanors, a lot of Noah's ideologies is very similar to Caesar, where he's a lot more kind of open-minded to certain things. You know, you do see that he's a little bit more closed in and is not really fond of what they call human echoes. And when he starts to grow into it, especially when he meets Rocka, and I really liked Rocka's character as well. He is obviously very, very similar to Maurice in the previous trilogy. And they do mention that he is the last of the main people that followed Caesar. And you would think that he's probably some sort of relative from Maurice, because he is an orangutan, looks pretty much identical to Maurice, besides having the big kind of flat face that Maurice did. And he's very wise like Maurice and everything like that. So you would most likely think that he is somehow related to Maurice, which I think is a nice touch. And so you kind of get a very similar visual when you have Noah that looks like Caesar, Rocka that looks like Maurice, and their journey into trying to find people that wrong them. And I like their characters. I like their dynamic. I think they work very good off of each other. There's something about that happens with Rocka that I'm not too fond of, which we'll get a little bit into later. But I do like Rocka as a character. I do think he is someone that helps Noah kind of build up his character and kind of keeps him in check and helps him learn more about the world, because from Noah's perspective, the world is a very small portion of the timeline for him. He doesn't know about all the previous, 300 years ago, where apes were not as smart as they are. He doesn't know anything about Caesar until Rocca tells him. And so I like all that where you're still doing a lot of world building. That's the nice thing about this movie is that there's so much to explore in this kind of dystopian land where everything is destroyed, overgrown with greenery. You have all these skyscrapers that are broken down, and it's just really nice to see all these different areas. Very, very great visuals. It's a lot of great world building. So I really enjoyed a lot that this movie had to offer. And speaking of what the person that did wrong to Noah, Proximus Caesar. I absolutely loved Proximus Caesar as our main antagonist. I thought he was very cool, very awesome. The way he talks, his demeanor, the confidence that he spews from him, just the like I said, just the way he talks, his demeanor. I really, really enjoyed Proximus Caesar. I love his motivation of trying to get into the safe. While his motivation is fairly simple, but he's trying to get to these kind of more humanesque military weapons to try to build up his clan that he is kind of taking over. And I like the idea that he's kind of manipulating Caesar's words to gain trust of all the other apes. The way they kind of frame Caesar, he's kind of a like a religious figure. He was the first elder, and he's like, now I am the elder. And so I really like the way Proximus Caesar is trying to manipulate Caesar's viewpoints on the world and his words to try to kind of mold the clan the way he wants to. So I really enjoyed Proximus Caesar. I like the interactions between Noah and Proximus. I like their fights that they get at the end. Like the final battle between Noah and Proximus Caesar, I thought was amazing. It's not necessarily like a fight in a sense, but I just really, really enjoyed the way that final interaction and battle happened between Noah and Proximus. So I really loved that, the way it kind of finished off and wrapped up for Noah's storyline and how he kind of becomes a new leader in a way. Like he starts to have that demeanor of Caesar when he starts to become the leader. And so I like that Noah's kind of heading towards that way. I also really enjoyed some of the humor in here. Like, it's not meant to be a funny movie, but there is still some pretty decent humor. And I got some pretty good laughs out of me in this movie. So I really enjoyed overall the film. There's a lot of great action. There's a lot of great tense moments. There's a lot of good comedy. There's some great dialogue. There's just beautiful visuals, a nice score. So I think there's so much that this movie did well for me that I absolutely loved. And one last thing, this is hard for me because this was a negative for me at first. And it's kind of a pro because of the way the movie ended. But I'm kind of leaving it in a middle, more of a mix, just because I feel like the full-on execution of the ending was great, but the execution of the entire film was not. Where we have our main character that they call her Nova, of course, because they call all the Echoes or humans Nova, and it's kind of a little nod to the previous trilogy. But Nova's character, well, you can tell that she has some sort of intention that isn't what she gives you at face value. I don't really like the way her character is built out, the way they go about it. I understand that she's trying to be very innocent, try to act dumb, try to act like she doesn't know what's going on, but she has very specific intent. I feel like they should have gave her a little bit more tense moments, kind of more malicious looks and dialogue, and just to kind of up the ante, because she just felt like she was just a character that was traveling with them for no reason until you find out what the reason is at the end. And when you do find out the reason, I absolutely love what the reason was. I absolutely love the way they set up a next movie, because it definitely seems like there's going to be more to tell in this world, in this universe. So I really enjoyed the way they set up her character towards the end, what her goal is, what the humans' goals are, what Caesar's kind of goal feels like. Like he's trying to explore more because he finds this telescope and he kind of gets infatuated with what he's seeing through the telescope. And so he feels like he wants to kind of expand his knowledge of the universe. So I just really like the way that film kind of wrapped up, and just what the storyline is between the humans and the apes, and what each side are trying to do. I really enjoyed the way they left everything off. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the cons for me. And there's not much really. I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I didn't like about the movie. And there's a couple of things, right? Like I mentioned, Nova's character, I don't really think they utilized her that well. it had a nice wrap up for me, but overall the usage of Nova was not great. I do feel like this is kind of, in a way, a rehash of the previous trilogy. It kind of goes through a lot of similar beats where you have Proximus that is very similar to like Woody Harrelson's character. They're kind of being used for work and slavery, like in war. You have Noah, our main ape, that is very naive and is learning and kind of becomes a leader by the end of it, like Rise. You have the war aspect between Proximus clan and Noah's family's clan, so it's kind of like Dawn. So there is a lot of reminiscence of the previous trilogy. I also do think, although I love that they mentioned Caesar a lot, I do feel like they leaned pretty heavy on Caesar as a person and tried to use nostalgia of the previous trilogy, even though this is obviously the same continuity and is now a four movie kind of long series with these more modern Planet of the Apes. I do think they try to use a lot of the older movies to kind of be like, hey, remember that from the previous trilogy? Yeah, look, we mentioned it here. I feel like they did a lot of that. And not that I hated it, but I feel like it's something that some people might not enjoy. And because I enjoy that they brought up Caesar a lot, I enjoy that they brought up the previous trilogy because I thought it was kind of a nice nod to it. But I do think there was a little bit of an overuse of that. And lastly, I think Rocca's character, I do wish they also utilized him a little bit better. Apart from the fact that he was kind of an expedition type of person of trying to explain to everybody that maybe has never seen the previous trilogy of what Caesar was all about, what the times before apes taking over the planet was all about, and for him to not be utilized anywhere past the second half of the movie was a little bit unfortunate. I hope he comes in a next movie. I thought he was going to come back by the end of this film, but that doesn't happen. I believe he might show up again. He seems like to be kind of important, and just the wisdom he gave Noah, I feel like he would have been a character that would have been great to be there toward the end. But we part ways with him midway through in a sense. So that's a little bit unfortunate. But I do think he was a strong character at the beginning. I just wish they utilized him better throughout the entire film. But let me know what you guys thought about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I absolutely love this movie. I am completely debating on where I want to put this in my ranking. I've been thinking about it for the past 2 days, and I have an answer in my head. I just don't know if it's the right answer, but I absolutely love this movie. Let me know your guys' thoughts about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts about the entire Planet of the Apes movies, the previous trilogy, the older films, whatever you want. I'd love to hear all your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. Remember to like and subscribe. And if you guys like talking movies, TV shows, or video game related, you are in the right place. Make sure to join that Nerd Talk family, and I'll see you guys on the next review. Thank you.